Hello, my friends, and welcome to our next camping adventure. Cheers to you. It's a little hot. We got some road coffee today, but I'm excited. We had some storms roll through this morning, but it's clearing up pretty good. So hopefully we don't have any issues. So my friends, appreciate y'all coming along. Y'all get buckled up, and let's get headed down that campground. But we're gonna make a little stop on our way down there. So I'm looking forward to that. Everybody out there, y'all take care, and I'll see you when we get to our destination. Let's go. All right, my friends, well, we made it down here. Ooh, that was a drive, let me tell you. But holy catfish. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to do some catfishing. I've just been wanting to do that this week. But we've got a nice little lake here. And we do have, you can spot them out there, we do have one other fisherman out here. But other than that, I think we got the place to ourselves. That's pretty nice. All right, my friends, well, I'm going to get some gear out of Red. And, well, let's get set up. Appreciate y'all coming along, and we'll catch up directly. We're definitely having a gnat issue, my friends. Holy catfish. Well, my friends, it was nice, but not there at the lake. I'll give it that. But we'll discuss that more when we get to the campground. We're headed that way right now. So everybody out there, appreciate you coming along so far, and well, let's go find us a campsite. All right, my friends, we made it down to our little home away from home for tonight. It's not a bad little campsite at all. That firing looks like it may have seen a better day or two. Oh, but right now we got some decent shade, which is pretty nice. It's pretty warm. So my friends, I want to grab me a seat and something cold to drink. Y'all take care, and we'll catch up directly. Oh, holy catfish. Oh, my apologies, my friends. Oh, cheers to you. My friends, we are having a serious gnat issue. We spent a couple hours down there by the water. That was kind of nice, except for the gnats. There are just so many. I thought they could carry me off, and they're no better here at camp. I've been sitting here for probably half an hour, and there's just no letting up. And I am, pardon me, I am using insect repellent, but I think these guys have definitely built up a tolerance to it or something. I don't know. So my friends, oh please, if you have a suggestion on how to keep gnats off of you at the campground, drop a comment. I would truly appreciate it. But I mean, they are just so bad that, well, I'm going to be here for at least, well, I'm going to finish this joker, and then I'm going to give it another hour before I hop behind the wheel, just to let that beer taper off. And we'll probably do something completely different on this trip. I know, sorry, good night. There's sorry, I got distracted. I kind of derailed my own train of thought there. But there's been a number of you requesting a look inside a red, and now I have his summer setup ready to go, and a few questions about my electrical system. So I think if these jokers don't let up here in, oh, let's say an hour, we're probably going to pick this back up in in my driveway, and I'll give you that tour of the inside of red. And we'll probably give me a little bit of time to think of something neat to cook up for us, another recipe for us that typically more of a home cook recipe than here at the campground. It's definitely not going to be what I planned for tonight. I'm going to save that one for our next trip. And oh my God, I just swallowed one. Daggone. Oh, but I have not paid for the campsite yet. So if they let up, great. If not, I'll probably see you again in my driveway, my friends. So my apologies. I was really looking forward to getting out here too. I mean, technically we did. So it's not been a horrible, well, let's just say it's been a day. But these things happen, my friends. So everybody out there, appreciate your patience. And well, odds are, if these bugs don't let up, I'll be seeing you soon in my driveway. Y'all take care, and well, let's see where this day goes. Gee, many crickets. I'll see you in a little bit. Daggone. Oh. All right, my friends, well, welcome to my driveway, and it's actually the next day, but I want to address a couple things really quickly about that gnat situation. Before I left, there were quite a few other campsites that were available, and I walked up pretty much that whole campground. It's not a huge one, and no matter where I went, it was the same issue. And there were a few other campers in there, and they were zipped up tight in their tents. I could hear them chatting and whatnot. But as I was heading back to Red, one of the DNR officers happened to come through the park, and I flagged him down and had a chat. And he said, for some reason this year, it is the worst that he can even recall how badly it was down there. So, great, just my fortune. And I've been to that, and actually we've been to that campsite, that exact same campsite before. Last year, my son and his wife came down, and we camped there, didn't even have a single issue. But this year it was just ridiculous. And some of you might be thinking, well, you know, I could have just stayed in the back of the Red. Well, one, it's hot. And two, that kind of defeats my purpose of going camping. I don't do a lot in the back of Red. It's pretty much just my little camper. It's just where I sleep at night, because my whole goal is to get out to the campground and spend some time outside, because like a lot of us, we're just, you know, for 40 plus hours a week, we're cooped up in a building and don't get to, you know, other than to go outside and get in your car and drive an hour home. Holy catfish. So I just like to detach away from all that stuff. That's why we don't see a lot in the back of Red. And also, I don't cook back here. I know a lot of truck campers do, but to be perfectly honest, my friends, I am not comfortable having an open flame in a confined space. That's just me. But, oh, one last thing, and then we'll get into this tour, apologies. I mentioned, you know, I'm going to put something up there. Yesterday I mentioned something to detour gnats, if you had any suggestions. Can't use citronella candles, or I'm one of the fortunate people that citronella candles and even scented candles just give me just an atrocious headache. So that's not really in the cards for me, but I am open to suggestions, my friends. Truly appreciate it. Now, enough of that. My apologies. All right, let's get into this business here. Now, I've had a couple questions about my electrical system. Oh, and I want to tell you, everything that I have in here, I'd say over 90% of it I got on Amazon. And I don't provide links to anything because I don't have an Amazon store, and I'm not on here to try to sell anything, honestly. But enough of that. All the wiring that I have in here, I used this guy right here. It's just basic 18 gauge stranded wire, because this is a complete low voltage system. And my battery that I'm using is an Everstart deep cycle marine battery, and I've had this thing for about 5 years and it's still going strong. Typically I put it in the truck when I'm ready to go, and other than that, when I get back, it comes off, goes in the garage, and I have a trickle charger I put on it to maintain it, and it's actually held up really well. Here on the back I have a cigarette lighter adapter and a USB. And I should probably mention ahead of time, in here is my wire distribution. I've got a picture of it, I'll throw that up there. But where I have right here, this is, I believe it's 12 gauge actual electric wire that I've got wired into my inverter, and then run around inside here to the distribution bars for all my positives and negatives. Hopefully I don't get too tongue-tied on this, my friends. And for the lighting, which we'll show here in a little bit, all the negatives are daisy chained together and come back here directly to the distribution bar. The positives are chained together and they go to a switch I have up here, and next to that switch I also have another USB plug and a cigarette lighter adapter. Now, those four, the adapters, USB and cigarette, those go directly to the distribution bars. Let's see. And and for the wiring, I pretty much all of my connections are just wire nuts. And to connect the wires around inside of Red, I didn't drill any holes for that. I got a pack of these, again off of Amazon. But what it is, if I can open it, without spilling it, or they have a specific name, just cable clip is what they call them. But it's these little cable clips. It's got a flat back, and you can put a screw through it if you want to, but what I did was I just took some super glue and right up on the inside wall of Red, ran the wire through there with a zip tie, and there you go. And the lights are actually attached. These are the lights. And I used just little pieces of Velcro, and since this is lined, and then just stuck them right to it, and then I could take the wires and just tuck them up underneath. And let's see. Typically, here's where I strap my chair in. I got a little bungee cord, and let me move this. Hopefully you can see this on the camera. Apologies if you can't, because I can't see what it sees. But recently I installed, I can do this without dropping anything, a little rod holder for my fishing rods, and it seems to work out pretty good. Too bad we did more fishing than catching yesterday, that's for sure. And there we go. And also my little step stool goes right up in here too. All right, my friends, let me give me a second. I'm gonna kick my shoes up and we'll get a closer look, or excuse me, kick my shoes off and get a closer look up inside Red. So bear with me just a second. All right, my friends, well, I've hiked up in here, and I think we'll just kind of move this way back into Red. But right here, I just brought this out just to show you, since we have a cigarette lighter adapter down here and I have one here. But this is a 12-volt car battery electric blanket, And it's got a built-in timer, so you can set it for 30 minutes, 45, or 55. I've only used it a couple of times during the winter months, not often. Usually I keep it down here by my feet, but if my feet get cold, I can turn it on and warm it up, and then I don't have to worry about it. But I think the longest I've ever set it for is 30 minutes, and then it'll shut itself off, which is pretty nice. Now, off the inverter here, I've got a cable that runs back here to a portable DVD player. Now, what's nice about this particular, main reason I got this one is because it also has an adapter, so I can use a cigarette plug versus hooking up to the inverter, because I do not leave the inverter on. I mean, even without a load on it, you have it. If your inverter's on, it's still going to draw power off your battery. Let's see. Oh, and but in my USB plug down there, I have my charger here for the GoPro batteries, so I can pop a couple batteries in there at night and they'll be nice and charged up the next morning. This is a USB powered fan, and most of the stuff I keep in this little container right here. I just went ahead and broke it out for everybody. But it's rechargeable also, and this joker pushes the air around really well. Ooh, that's nice. And here's my dual switch, and one side, the left side, is for the lighting system. It goes around the inside of red, which works pretty good. And the other one here is for the joker that's above my head. I've got a video on how I installed this, somewhere back there. I can't remember how long it was. But we just have this Velcroed up here. It stays up there pretty good. I mean, I've never had it come down on me, let's put it that way. But that's that in my opinion, my friend, is a luxury. And to be perfectly honest, I've yet to see anyone truck camper on YouTube that has a ceiling fan. I think I'm the only one. I could be wrong, but I've never seen anybody else use one of these jokers, and it hooks up really easy. Okay, now back behind me, I just have a piece of what is this, fleece cloth, and just an extra pillow I've got bungeed up there. It's kind of like my makeshift headboard, just to keep off the metal. And we'll go over the mattress here directly. Believe me, this is not what I sleep on. It is, but it isn't. And back here, I've got I just keep a bag. And it's got my curtains in here. And my curtains, they go about 2/3 of the way up and one across the back. And again, this just Velcroed right to the liner. So putting them up and taking them down doesn't take no time at all. But typically, we finally got traffic on the street. The street's not as busy as it typically is, so that's fortunate for us. Oh, in here is where I keep the fan, the DVD player, and the remote's still in there. And I have a little emergency light. You probably can't see because it's daylight. And this is actually a light, and it's actually something I got this at Harbor Freight, but yeah, hopefully you can see that all right. But it's actually a AAA battery powered bug zapper, and it works pretty good. Let's see. I think that's pretty much, hopefully I didn't forget anything. That's pretty much everything. But now let me show you the sleeping arrangement. Like I said, I mean, right now I've just got a couple of blankets on, but we're on an air mattress. So let me back out of here and we'll get that thing pumped up. All right, my friends, I went ahead and boxed everything up while I was up in there just to make my life easier. But I wanted to show you my connection real quick for this little ceiling fan. What I did was I took a trailer hitch extension, just split it in half, and then spliced it into the ceiling fan. So I have a quick disconnect up there in the top. So when I hook the fan up, just pop it in and I'm good to go. But now the actual sleeping system. I've just got a couple of quilts on here because we're moving into spring and summer, so it's not too awful cold. But what it is a self-inflating mattress, which is a USB plug, so I can either plug it in here or I've got a little adapter plugged into the inverter, which I've got the inverter on. So let's go ahead and fire it up. Oh, a minute, I thought I didn't. And this takes about probably 3 to 5 minutes. I've never really timed it, but I think that sounds about right to get fully inflated. So we'll be back in about 3 to 5 minutes, my friends. And there we go. Now, a lot of times, usually when I leave the campground, I'm going to turn, did I turn this off? I think I did. What I'll do is it's got an auto deflate, so I'll just click that off the time I get home. It's flat again. But sometimes it shifts, so I can just push it right up in there, and then we're good to go for the night. And I'll tell you what, I sleep great on that thing, my friends, let me tell you. All right, well, this morning I pulled some stuff out of the freezer so we could cook up something. I want to try a recipe that I've yet to do. I've been wanting to try this for a while, but we're going to give that one a go together. So it's going to be a true test in the kitchen. So my friends, appreciate you hanging in there this far. So as soon as everything's thawed out, we'll get to cooking. Y'all take care, and we'll catch up in the kitchen. All right, my friends, well, we made it into the kitchen. All our meat's thawed out and everything. And what I had, this is something I've been wanting to try for a while. It's my little spin on a 3-meat chili. I've got a lot of chili recipes, but I'm always looking to, well, add to them. But what I have here in the pan, I've already got half a pound of 80-20 ground beef and a half pound of spicy breakfast sausage. And what we're going to add to that, this is the ingredient I've been wanting to try in chili. This right here is Walmart's version of the Philly cheesesteak pieces that I've thawed out. And they're roughly about 4 ounces a piece. So that's going to give us about a pound and a half of meat. So my friends, I'm going to get this browned up, and then we'll get some more ingredients in there. So there's step one. All right, my friends, we're about 2/3 browned up. And when I went ahead earlier and diced up 1 medium onion, we're going to go ahead and put that in there with it. And this already smells amazing. Holy catfish. And 1 yellow bell pepper. So we're going to get all that going. And once the meat is, everything kind of incorporates a little bit, the meat's all the way brown through, then we're going to add our seasoning. And I'm going to take this kind of a gentle approach because I'm not sure how all this is going to come out. So we're going to find out together, my friends. So we'll be back shortly. All right, my friends, we're ready to put our seasoning in here, and I'm going to go easy on it. What I have in here is 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper, and 2 tablespoons of Mexican chili powder. And we're going to put that in there. Now, this is just a good suggestion, I suppose. But when you're making chili, I always like to put the seasoning in with the meat before I dump everything into one pot. Because usually with dried seasonings, it takes them a little bit to actually bloom, I guess I hope that's the proper term. So we're just going to let this kind of, all meld together here for a couple, 3 minutes. And then what I'm going to do is I'll turn the heat off, and we're going to transfer everything in here over to the big pot. And then we'll add the rest of our stuff. Appreciate you hanging in there, folks. This has been an odd adventure, I'll tell you what. But I'm having fun. All right, my friends, I did a quick little taste test, and I went ahead and added about another teaspoon of that chili powder. You can add as much or as little as you like, depends on your level of heat. But for my taste, I added about another teaspoon. And we're about ready to put it in the other pot. I've already turned the heat off. All right, my friends, let's get some more ingredients in here. And I've got extra stuff, but we're going to build it as we go. I've got 1 can, just a regular sized can of tomato sauce. Dump that in there. 1 can of Rotel, diced tomatoes and green chilies, not drained. None of these cans, well, obviously not the tomato sauce, but that's not drained. And 1 can of light red kidney beans. I prefer the light red ones, and I don't drain that either. Dump all that in there. That's pretty close. Let's give that a stir. And we're going to put that on about a medium-low heat. Cover it. And we're going to let that simmer for a good, 15 minutes at least, maybe a little longer. Probably do another little quick taste test and see what else we need with the seasonings. So this is the first time we're putting this together. My friends, appreciate your patience, and we'll probably be back in about 15 minutes. Let's clean up our mess. All right, my friends, let's dish this up a bowl and see how this turned out. Because, we're developing a recipe here, but I've got enough, I guess, cooking background that I knew what base ingredients to throw in there. And I made a note that we added an extra teaspoon of the chili powder. So it's still a little warm too. So let's see how it's turned out. Well, it's not too bad. Sorry, I'm contemplating. What does it need, or is it okay? I didn't get a piece of the steak that bite. There it is. Oh my goodness. That's actually pretty good. Man, whew, there's the heat. Comes in on the back end. Cheers, my friends. I think if I were to add anything to it in the recipe, I think maybe just a pinch more salt, but since if you use salted crackers, I think that'd be just fine. If you use unsalted crackers, salt and pepper to taste. I think you could use just a touch more salt, but other than that, this came out really well. That's the first time I've ever put that cheesesteak in a chili, but I've been wanting to try it. Yep, that's pretty good. Imagine you throw some Colby Jack in there, your crackers, maybe a little bit of cheese, and hey, you got your perfect bowl of chili. Holy catfish. Well, my friends, I just want to tell you how much I appreciate y'all coming along on this odd little adventure. Unfortunately, we just got run out of camp, all those gnats. So I'm going to try to do a better job of picking a better campsite on our next adventure that's not in a low-lying or a flood area. Holy cow. But anyway, my friends, again, appreciate y'all coming along. Y'all take care. And as always, I'll see you soon.